نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم فاسألوا أهل الذكر إن كنتم لا تعلمون فقال الله عز وجل في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد وقال الله عز وجل في شأن حبيبه مخبرا وآمرا إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما الصلاة والسلام عليك يا سيدي يا رسول الله وعلى آلك وأصحابك يا سيدي يا حبيب الله. What do we do in a situation where there's a conflict over the moon sighting, whether that's at the start of Ramadan or whether that's the moon sighting for Shawwal and Eid al-Fitr, or in fact really it should apply to any month, but of course it's always a very big issue and a big problem at the time of Ramadan and Eid al-Fitr. So what do we do? You're in a situation where you live in a city, in a town where an announcement has been made by a masjid that the moon has been sighted and therefore the month will start tomorrow. There's another announcement by another masjid or institution that says the moon has not been sighted and therefore the month will not start tomorrow, or tomorrow will not be Eid, or tomorrow will not be Ramadan and it will start the day after. You are presented with both of those opinions. The question is, which one do you follow? First of all, as a layperson, remember, most people in this world are not ulama, and that is why Allah in the Quran says فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ إِن كُنتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. In matters that you do not know, go to the people of dhikr. In this instance, the Mufassirin have said to the people of knowledge, or the people in the know. Like you would go to the doctor when you have a medical problem, you go to the dentist when you've got a problem with your teeth, you go to the accountant when you have a tax issue, etc., etc. So you go to the person who is the expert in that field, in the issues of Islamic law, the ulama, the muftiyan, the fuqaha. These are the experts, and therefore that is who you go to. So two separate Islamic experts give you a different opinion. Who do you follow? First and foremost, you will follow the person or the alim who is of your school of thought. What I mean by that is you're in the four schools of fiqh, the one who is following your school of fiqh. Secondly, or maybe this could possibly be even more important, is aqidah. You must ensure that the person you are following is of your aqidah, the correct aqidah, Ahlus Sunnah wal Jama'ah. So they are those who follow the awliya, the salihin, the tabi'in, the tabi'in, the sahaba, and ultimately Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. If they both tick that box, now you have a dilemma. They're of your aqidah, they're of your school of law, but they have differences of opinions. You will then go through a process of due diligence. What does that mean? As an average person on the street who doesn't have intense knowledge of Islamic law, you will then look at, say, okay, who's more qualified in this field of moon sighting in terms of astronomical and astrological information and study? Who has devoted more time into research, understanding and studying this topic? And then you will follow their opinion, because their opinion will be based on more sound evidence, and therefore you must also look at evidence, the evidence upon which those opinions have been stated with respect to what day the moon has been sighted, in terms of what day the month is being started. So look at evidence, look at due diligence. So you will ask the ulama, both of them, what is your evidence for making the statement that you have given? And thereafter, if, let's say, they are both equally as qualified, they are both have access to the similar information and data, then you have a situation that you have been through the process of due diligence. Now have a look at what other ulama are doing in this situation, what other institutions and what other masajid are doing. But remember, what is key here is to establish and ensure that to the best of your knowledge, the people whose opinion you are considering are actually reliable. They don't have any, how's the best way of saying this? Have any question marks, that you in your heart and mind don't have any doubts over their decision from a fundamental perspective, in the sense that sometimes, and I know it's not nice to say this, but unfortunately we live in a world where we are human and we can make mistakes, and we can be often influenced by various different factors, and sometimes an individual may be influenced by factors which are outside of Sharia, non-Sharia factors. Sometimes it could be heavy influence or pressure from the community, or pressure from committees or administration in the institution that they're involved in. So satisfy yourself that the decision being put forward to you is based solely on that individual's legal opinion, based on evidence and research and data that he himself has accessed and studied. Now you look at other masajid, other institutions. Why? Because what again is important, that Aka Kareem alayhi salatu wasalam has said that my ummah will never unite on dalala. So what we will simply then look at is what are the majority of the Muslims of your aqidah, of your school of thought, in your town, in your area, in your city, what position are they following? And if you find that one opinion is being followed in the majority, and the ulama and institutions following them are reliable and sound, then follow that opinion. Why? Because as a lay person, in terms of a person who doesn't have intricate knowledge of masail, of the Quran and Sunnah, of sacred knowledge, that is all you can do. And on the Day of Judgment, it is your niyyah which counts. إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّةِ. So Allah will judge the decision you made of who to follow based on, number one, what your niyyah was. And if your niyyah was that you wanted to ensure that you did Eid or Ramadan on the correct day for the sake of Allah and His Rasul, and therefore you went through this process of what I call due diligence, and then you made a decision, even if you got that decision wrong, you will not be accountable on the Day of Judgment, because you did the best you could. If, however, you didn't go through that process, then there could be a question mark raised, and then on the Day of Judgment, and then we would simply rely on Allah's mercy. However, on an even more simple level, often people can't even go into that much detail or that much investigation into going through all that due diligence. In that case, ensure that you follow an alim who you respect, who you consider to be sound, who you know has knowledge of this area and expertise in this field. No doubt you will know of a person in your area, in your country, in your, so on and so forth, who you have heard of or who you know about, who you respect. Follow them. And even if you don't have access to that information, or you're not sure who is who and what's what, then the bottom line is follow the masjid that you have been affiliated to for the rest of the year, for your salah, for your Jummah, for your Taraweeh, for everything else that went on during the year. The calendar that you followed for the rest of the year, the masjid who produced that, you never questioned the days there, then simply carry on. That would be the simplest answer to this. This is a very sensitive issue and it's very difficult to give a firm answer on what an individual should do. But I think the key point to remember here is your niyyah, making sure that your niyyah is correct and pure. And number two, doing your best in terms of what I have referred to several times as due diligence. And if you can't do the due diligence, in the sense that maybe you're restricted, and there could be many factors that restrict you, then follow the masjid who you are affiliated to or who you normally follow during the course of your normal life. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide us all in this respect and guide the ummah on this very serious issue.